Hey friends, so if you're watching this right now, this video is really long. If you can't tell, look down there. It's really long. It's definitely something that isn't something you really need to be watching. It's definitely something that you should do while you're doing other stuff like cleaning or crafts or whatever. The last time I did one of these, I was doing one of my scrapbook crafts things or whatever. I would suggest the same. It's really nothing to like look about. There's two pictures and they're unnecessary to look at, but realistically it's just something that I want to talk about. I want to sit down and just talk. So if you don't watch it, it's fine. If you just listen to it, it's fine. If you are not interested in that and you click out, that's fine too. But I appreciate you guys from coming, and I'll see you guys later. Hello. It's a little dirty. Where to start? We're putting together the rest of this room. And if you watch me for any amount of time, this room is where I do my unboxings, where I film sometimes, where I kind of just come. This is also a spare bedroom. But so this room had been gutted. Don't have any pictures of that. It had been completely gutted except for this mattress, a few blankets, and other things. And I will tell you, the last couple months have been really hard for both of us. So I don't know exactly the dates. I know it kind of started in August, and I know this video is not coming out for a while. I have just so much footage that I'm sitting on, and right now it's not like a big problem, except for like financially, but we get there when we get there. But so realistically speaking, this kind of started sometime in August. It was a Sunday, and so Sunday night, Suki wasn't eating. If you don't know Suki, she's one of our cats. She's not here, but she's not in this room with us, but her brother is. Anyway, so Suki, she came to us. We got her origin story. If you guys really want to know, is that we've always had a cat and a dog. We've always had Pharaoh. We've always had Cora, and we've had them for years. Prior to even moving to this house, we've had them forever. And then once we got here, we lived here for a really long time. My cousin called me and she said, "Do you want to come visit these foster kittens with us? I might want to adopt one." And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna go because I know what I'm like. If I go, I'm gonna come home with kittens. I don't want that. I don't want anything to do with another cat." She's like, okay. She goes and visits these foster people, and she visits with these cats for hours, and then she comes home. She fills out paperwork, and then the next day she calls me up and she's like, "Cindy, do you want to come with us? If you come with us, then there's a possibility, like, we already adopted the cats, so I mean, you're not gonna adopt a cat." And I'm like, you're right. Okay, I'll go. I love cats. So I go with them, and she gets 2 cats of her own, 2 kittens, and there's 2 kittens left, and like just being in that situation got me all excited. So then I texted Peyton and I was like, "Hey Peyton, do you want to go see these cats?" And he's like, "I don't know." And so me, my sister, and my cousin, we went back to our house. We brought the kittens here, her kittens, to our house, and just to like see how Cora would interact, because Cora would be the dominant cat in this situation, 100%. Cora would be the dominant cat 100%, so she would have problems with it. And if you guys know anything about cats, they are very territorial. Oh my gosh. they have boundaries. They have territory that they want to take over and stuff. So taking kittens and putting it in a household that already has a cat is a little bit harder. You have to kind of introduce them properly. So we brought these kittens over to see how Cora would react. She reacted kind of the way we kind of thought she would. She didn't want anything to do with them. She hissed at them. She growled at them. And like, she really didn't like them. But at the same time, she was very curious. So she just kind of kept coming back and like smelling them and stuff. And so we're like, that's interesting. And so me and Peyton decided to go down to the foster people, and we saw these 2 other cats. We met with both of them. One of them is a tabby, and the other one was a tuxedo cat. So we looked at both of them, and like, I don't know, we've had the 2 other cats we've had before Cora. We've had a tabby cat, and then we also had like a family orange tabby cat. So like, we gravitate towards the tabby cats. So Suki was kind of a done deal, but then we knew that we were leaving her brother, and he was the last one in the litter, and we were talking to the foster person, and she was telling us that these cats have been really hard to adopt out. Like, they're little, they're kittens, so it's easier to adopt out kittens, but it was really hard to adopt them out. Nobody seemed to want them. And she said that she had them for so many months that it just feels kind of weird without them, kind of thing. And anyways, she was telling us about that, and then we were told like, kittens in packs of 2. Kittens, when they're adopted together, they do a lot better. And so we decided, let's do it. Let's adopt both. So we adopted both cats. So now we have Roku and Suki, and we're bringing them back. And Roku has always been the name of a cat that we wanted to adopt. Back when we lost one of our other cats, we were looking into adopting another cat because our, like, after we were able to grieve and all this stuff, we were looking into adopting another cat. So we were trying to adopt another male cat. I don't know if I have any pictures. I do take a lot of pictures, but there was this male cat that we really wanted at the shelter, and he was very small, and we were trying to adopt him out, but then he was sick and all that stuff. And so they told us that, hey, we're going to do a round of antibiotics, so it's going to take a while. So they did a round of antibiotics. We kept calling back every day just to see how he was doing, yada yada. And so July 4th, I believe, they said, yeah, you can come down. So we came down to try to adopt this cat. And then we found out, like, he's still sick. And not only is he sick, now everybody in this area is now sick. So then we couldn't adopt any of the boy cats. And we had settled on the name Roku for so long because Roku was just like a really cool avatar name. Come on. It's amazing. So we wanted to keep it. But then we found out this cat was sick and he was just getting worse. We thought about it. We had just lost a Scar, and we couldn't just get another cat that's sick and then potentially lose him. It would probably devastate us even more. It would just make everything way worse. And so we found out that there was another cat room kind of like off to the side, like kind of like pushed in the corner. You do not see it. And you go in there and there's just a bunch of cats that are like female. They're all like female kittens. They're a little bit bigger. The male kittens, they're definitely smaller. I think it's because anyways. So then that's when we met Cora. And it was kind of a done deal. All the girl kittens were scared. They were hiding in the corner and all that stuff. And Cora was the one that we ended up adopting because she kept coming out. She was curious. But the thing is, just a little like interesting preface. She was really nice and really wanting to be like, she wanted to know what was going on and all that stuff. And it was really fun for us. So we adopted her. But by the time we got home, like, kind of her true nature started to come out. Like, after a while, she was kind of aggressive. She would try to bite you a lot. She would open her mouth whenever she would like open it really big, like, Like, so we had always had kind of like an aggressive cat, but like she definitely like through not we didn't even really do much with her like to try to pull her out of that aggressive state. She kind of just did it on her own. Now she's a very cuddly cat. She hugs and cuddles and she wants to be held all the time. She is literally baby. Anyways, so that was Cora's origin story, which you guys didn't need to know about. I just need to tell you about Roku's name. But anyways, so Roku turned into a tuxedo cat. Roku took that name on. And then so while we were driving home, we were trying to figure out names for the other cat, the tabby cat. And so we were kind of going back and forth. All of our pet names have all been 2-syllable words. We have Pharaoh, Cora, Roku. So we were trying to figure out another name. So we settled on Suki. And please do not tell me in the comments. We should have named them Suki and Sokka. Hello, they're siblings. They're like, that's like, these cats are siblings, everybody. No, I'm not doing that. And Roku is such like a fitting name for our tuxedo cat. So I don't want to hear it. I literally do not want to hear it. Anyway, so that's their origin story. And we've had them for about 3 years, and up until August, it was kind of like the most painful, antagonizing time of our life. And so, let's see. So a random Sunday in August, don't remember the dates, Suki started to not eat. So our cats are on a strict feeding schedule. So they eat a couple times a day, and then like this is how it is. This is how it's been for the entire time we've had them. All our animals are on a feeding schedule. They never free feed. That's not a possibility. Sunday comes around, Sunday night, I believe. Suki's not eating. And that's not uncommon for her. Sometimes she eats a little bit, she gets full. She's a tiny cat, so she gets full really quick. So then she kind of moves on. So the very first day wasn't like a big thing. And we're like, okay, that's interesting. Monday rolls around, she doesn't eat again. And mind you, I feel terrible. We feel terrible as a couple. We feel terrible as a couple because we didn't realize that this was so like terrible. Keeping your cat hydrated. The moment they start becoming dehydrated, it gets worse and worse for them. And we didn't realize that because like understandably, sometimes when you take your animals into the vet and stuff, they don't want your animals to eat or drink anything prior to leaving or prior to getting like certain x-rays and stuff like that. So I was like, she hasn't eaten in about 24 hours. She's drinking a little bit, but it's like not a lot. And so I think Monday, Tuesday, we waited too long. This is the worst part about this is that we waited too long, right? So Monday, she was drinking and she would throw up bile. So it's just like piles of green and yellow all over the floor. So we'd have to clean it up and stuff. And so Tuesday rolls around, I get her pet food, I get her chicken, rice, just anything bland for her stomach. I get her Pedialyte and all that stuff. So I try and give her those things. She takes the Pedialyte really well. She takes water really well. And I try to give her the ground up baby food that doesn't have anything besides water and chicken. And she takes that a little bit, but then she kind of throws up after a while. So this happens a lot. And then we try to feed her on her own. And the problem is she would smell it, have a gag reflex, and then a couple of minutes later throw up. So Wednesday rolled around and she's still not better. This is like, I feel terrible that we waited so long to take her anywhere. But now that we know these signs and all that stuff, like definitely if she's dehydrated, we probably should take her to the vet immediately. But anyways, Wednesday rolls around, she's still not doing any better. So we take her to an urgent vet clinic, and we take her there, and they don't really seem like overly concerned. And the way that they were explaining it to us is that she it is a possibility that because she hasn't had any liquids for so long that her stomach shrunk up, and then anytime she wants to eat anything or whatever, it going through her body, it just makes her nauseous. Kind of like how if us humans, if we don't eat after a certain amount of time or whatever, like food makes us nauseous, like all of that makes us nauseous. So he recommended we give her some fluids for sure. And he asked if we wanted to do an x-ray and we wanted to do blood work, and we denied it because we were thinking, well, he doesn't seem overly concerned that we needed to do an x-ray and blood work, so let's not do it. Let's try the fluids first and then see if she perks up, because he says that after we take her home with these anti-nausea medicine and the fluids, that she should perk up and all that stuff. So Wednesday night we come home, she's still not doing better. She is not throwing up because of anti-nausea medicine. She is now I'm forcing her to eat. I'm syringe feeding her food and stuff. So that kind of goes on. Thursday, I come home from work and we take her immediately back to the vet. We ask for x-rays, we ask for blood work. And I wish we didn't go back to this urgent vet at all, because it's just a waste of money at this point. But anyways, so we go there and we ask for all those things, and they do it. They pull us into the back and they say that there is an obstruction in her intestines. So there's apparently 2 obstructions. There's one over here and then like long intestines, and then one over here, and then her body's kind of like filled with gas. And they said that we would need to do surgery, and I was like, you guys don't do surgery here? Which I'm kind of surprised. We're at like an emergency vet clinic. I'm surprised they don't do surgery. They said no. They sent us down the street. We went to another place, which in hindsight, I feel like we should have gone the entire time. We shouldn't have stopped at this other urgent vet this Thursday. I was like, we shouldn't have stopped at them anyways, but we went over to the other emergency vet. So we have an urgent vet that didn't really do too much for us. The only thing they really did that really worked was the x-rays. So they sent the x-rays over to the other clinic. Anyways, so we go to this emergency vet place, and then we take her, and they see all this stuff, and they're telling us like, hey, yeah, so she definitely does have something, yada yada. We'll perform surgery, and it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. And we're like, okay, sounds good. And so they tell us that they're gonna take her. It's normally a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. They do surgery, and then the next day, like, she's recovering, we want to make sure that she's doing okay, and then we'll send her home. It's pretty quick, in my opinion. That's what it sounded like to me. It'd be pretty quick. So we're like, okay, sounds good. They quoted us anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000, and this is a hefty amount of change in our pocket that we don't have. But so we put it on a care credit card, and we kind of we wanted her to have the best. So we're hoping on the lower end, because the higher end is if she had to stay an additional couple days or anything like that. It was just a buffer. So we go home, and we're kind of just like relaxing and stuff. And they told us like, hey, yeah, after this happens, that you might want to like have her in like a secluded room or a kennel or something where she can't jump up and down and yada yada. So we came home that Thursday, kind of just like, it was a big relief off our minds, because animals do swallow a lot of things. So we fully understand that this is a possibility. So we were fully on board with anything that was happening. And then they called us that night giving us an update, being like, because Suki has been so dehydrated the last couple of days, we're going to try to get her fluids back in order and all of her levels to go back in order and all that stuff. And so we're going to try to do that. We're like, okay, sounds good. They call us back later and they tell us that Suki is not receiving the fluids very well. And they're like, we kind of suspect that she has some sort of heart condition, like an underlying heart condition. And she's not taking these fluids really well, and they don't really know what to do because they need to be able to give her surgery, because some animals and people do not come out of anesthesia easily, and she could be one of them. And so we kind of like thought about it for a while, and unfortunately it was either try the surgery and try to put her under anesthesia and then hopefully it works out, or we don't do anesthesia, we bring her home and she dies anyways. So we kind of went with the surgery option because we already knew we were spending that much money anyways. So we were like, let's just go with the surgery. Like, let's try the best we can to get anything, like, to get any of this, like, going. Like, regardless, it was a rock and hard place because it was like, hey, either you do the surgery and you might lose her, or you don't do the surgery and you won't lose her. So it's like, which one do you want to do? We said, let's do the surgery. They're like, okay. So they try to do her fluids and all that stuff. And that night, the anesthesiologist came in and they called us back, giving us another update. I don't remember what the updates were. But then they called us back a couple hours after that, being like, okay, now that our surgery team is now here, we are going to perform surgery and we will let you know when we're done. And we're like, okay. So this night, I'm kind of just going through things like I normally am, and I am treating it like Suki's coming home tonight and yada yada, or no, she's not coming home tonight, she's coming home in a few days, she's gonna do fine, blah blah blah. And then Peyton's like, are you going to work? And I tell him, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to work, because in my brain I feel like as long as I'm kind of treating it like everything is fine, that everything will be fine. And because I don't want to put any of this energy of like being sad or like upset of losing her potentially. And I don't know if like there is that possibility. I'm hoping that if I just treat everything like normal, then everything will become normal. So I didn't hear from them. I go to work the next day. They call me back around 6 a.m. And mind you, at this point, we're worried that she did not make it out of anesthesia. Their surgery didn't go well. They didn't call us that night. I think they called me at 2 a.m. and then they called me back around 6 a.m. And so they gave me some news and I called Peyton immediately, and I was already crying on the phone. So when I called him, it upset him and he was like, oh no, what happened? And I was like, no, it's good news. She came out of surgery, she's fine. They were shocked that she did so well under anesthesia, even with this heart condition that she may or may not have, and like she's doing really well and all that stuff. And we're like, phew, this is amazing. So they'll probably keep her for a couple days, and we're like, sounds good. And so I talked to the technician or the vet tech or whatever. I don't know who I talked to, but I was like asking them about Roku, wherever the hell he is right now. But I was asking about Roku and her siblings, because at this point I have one of her siblings, my cousin has two of them, and I'm like, is this heart condition like a problem that we're gonna have to face or whatever? And they're like, yeah, that might be something that you have to deal with, and you guys might want to take your other cats in to make sure that they don't have a heart condition and all that stuff. And we're like, okay, because it could be genetic. They weren't really sure, but they wanted us to essentially go and get her an echo at some point. And we're like, okay, sounds good. And so we go through the rest of the day kind of like just like super excited that she did really well and yada yada and all that stuff. And At this point in my head, I'm like, she has a heart condition. It's not that big of a deal because we can probably give her pills, and like we'll just deal with it as it goes. People give pills to their animals all the time, so it's not that big of a deal. And they called us around, I want to say like 5 or 6 that afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it. And she's not doing well. Her heart is failing. Her kidney values are declining. She is dehydrated. So they're telling us that they're trying to give her fluids, but the problem is her body isn't taking it, and in order for her to take these fluids, her heart needs to keep pumping, but giving her these fluids could cause her heart to fail, and then her kidneys could fail. Essentially, it was like a circle of things that was going wrong. Like if they do something to help the heart, it'll fail the kidneys, and then vice versa, just kind of going back and forth. Like they needed to keep the kidneys working or else the heart will fail, kind of thing. And it was all over the place. And they were trying to tell us, like, we don't really know what to do, and we're in a predicament. We're going to try to give her... they've told us a few different things that they were going to try to give her. The only thing I really remember is this doctor said that he was going to give her dopamine to try to help her heart, because they were more concerned about her heart than her kidneys and all, like, other stuff. Because they were like, her heart's more important, so we need to get her heart working. So we're like, okay. So now we're back down on a downward spiral. So we're like, what's happening to her? What's going on? Yada yada. And so that night they called us again, and mind you, this emergency place, I love them for the fact that they called us every time a new vet came in to take care of her. They called us every time the vet would leave to transfer onto another vet person or whatever. They call us to update on every tiny minute little thing, good news, bad news, whatever, it doesn't matter. So that night they called us and they said, Suki's not doing really well. Her oxygen levels are dropping really bad. Her heart is dropping really bad, and she is not doing well at all. And they said that it might be important for us to come down to see her. And so we got in our car and we immediately went to go see her. Mind you, both of us are in a state of like, this might be our last time to see her right now. And we're both like extremely upset. So we pull up into the parking lot. We sit there for a while in the waiting room. They pull us back there and we see her for the first time. Now that I look back on it, it's not as graphic as I originally thought it was. It was just kind of like seeing your baby in this state where they're hooked up to the machine and all that stuff. Like, it was just like very traumatizing. So we ran around the corner and she's in this huge oxygen box, and they're telling us like she needs to be in this box. You guys can open up the door and kind of like pet her and all that stuff, but we don't recommend letting it drop below 40 or something. I don't remember. It's kind of been a while. So they're like, if it drops below this amount, shut the door, and then the oxygen will go straight back up. So this box is essentially helping her breathe, and it's terrible. We're seeing her and she's small and she's frail, and she is seeing us. Like, her eyes are open and she's seeing us, but she's breathing. Her breathing is so heavy. It's like going up and down, and like, it's so much. And you can see that she's struggling. So we spent some time there with her, maybe like an hour and a half. We were there for a while the other vet people were doing stuff behind us. We were there for a really long time, kind of just like spending time with her, because realistically we didn't know whether or not this was going to be the last time we were going to spend with her, because the way that they were so concerned was so terrible. So anyways, we spent some time with her. We gave her some love, some kisses, and then we went home that night. And mind you, the last couple of days of everything that's going on, anytime that we haven't had her in the home, has been really rough on the both of us. Neither of us really been eating. We've been doing a lot of crying and stuff, and it's just been terrible. So we went home. We both had a huge cry about it, and we're trying to stay optimistic because they're trying their hardest. And so we were like, okay, we're going through some stuff right now. It's really hard, but it should be okay, right? The next morning they call us back, and they call us and they tell us that there's no real changes, but they honestly thought they were going to lose her that night. And she seems to be doing a minute amount better, but it's like, we're not out of the woods. Everything's gotten terrible. Wow, I've been filming for a while. Anyway, so they call us back and they tell us that she's not doing better, but she's not doing worse. And I think, like, they're like, her oxygen levels have gone up by like 2 or whatever. So essentially for the next couple days, it's a lot of calls that are like, she's doing a little bit better, but not really. And then, like, she's doing great. And, like, she woke up and she was rubbing up against people and she was loving on everybody and headbutting and all that stuff. And it was just like, great. And then it's like, what's happening? And it's just terrifying because, like, obviously we've never had to experience anything like this. And all of it is terrifying. All of it is horrible. So essentially, where are we at? Anyways, this kind of goes up and down for a really long time. And then it was a lot of calls back and forth. And then we visited her almost every single day after her surgery. And I, in my heart, believe that her seeing us was help within itself. Like, her just, like, seeing us maybe kind of gave her a little bit of that willpower to, like, try to get better and stuff, because being at the vet's not fun. Being in that huge, loud oxygen tank was not fun. So I believe that her seeing us kind of helped her, like, kind of try to. And so, like, we got to a point where we were coming and we opened up the little oxygen window and she would try to force her way out. We got to a point where I think we were doing really well at some point. She was on different types of medicine and all that stuff, and she was doing really well. They took off her cone because she was feeling very lethargic. She was feeling very lethargic, and so she was kind of just, like, laying, and she didn't want to do anything. And so they took off her cone because she was just struggling. And while we were there, she started to lick her incisions, and in hindsight, not a good thing, but it was a good thing because she wouldn't be feeling better. She would not be licking herself. So we saw her trying to lick herself. So we told them. They immediately put a cone on her, and they were very excited that she was, like, actually trying to groom herself. And so I believe after that, the next, like, 24 hours, like, she was doing a lot better. They had taken her off oxygen, which was really good. And then, like, they were just kind of waiting for her to eat. And so it got to a point where she was doing really good and she was kind of ready to come out, but she wasn't eating. And I don't know where I am at. I think Monday or Tuesday or something. They call us and they tell us, like, we're gonna send her home. Sometimes cats don't want to eat when they're not in a special place, like, yada yada. So they're telling us all these things and we're like, okay. So we finally are able to bring her home. We gutted out this room that I'm in right now. We gutted out the same day that we got her back. Roku, what are you doing? We gutted out this room that I'm in right now. That's why I just washed these, but I brought everything back into this room. There's not a lot of furniture and stuff in here. There's, like, a big bookshelf, a chair, a desk. There's not a lot of stuff. So it's a really good room for her to be in. There's not a lot of stuff to be jumping on. We put the closet doors back on here, and this bed is not very far off the ground, especially if you take this, it's a pull-out bed. So we put this mattress on the ground. So, and then she didn't have too much to jump up on. So while we brought her back, we set up this room for her. We got special litter for her. We brought water in here for her. This room became hers for the next 2 weeks because she needed to heal from her incisions. And so we gutted out this room, and she was in here for 2 painstaking weeks. And it was a lot of, like, back and forth. Anyways, so the first couple of days she wasn't really eating. She didn't really want to. And we had this potassium gel that we were giving her. If she wasn't eating, we were supposed to give her the potassium gel. She had painkillers, so we were giving her painkillers. And it was just like kind of, it's just like a lot of back and forth kind of thing. So, if you remember at the beginning, I do not, everybody's schedule feeding. So the thing is, because she was trying to get better, we were trying to get her better from where she was, and the fact that she was so skinny, she was no longer on scheduled feeding time. It was an unlimited buffet for her. So the thing is, we brought her home, and Roku and Suki are two very bonded cats, as any other bonded cats are. They are bonded cats. But I think with the fact that she kind of smells like the vet, and she kind of smells kind of yucky, he wasn't sure who she was really. That's like my only way to explain it. Anyway, so we brought her in here. She was in here for a while. They told us to run blood work to see how her kidneys are doing and all that. And then we also needed to get her into an echo at some point to get all that done. And we're like, okay, sounds good. So she was in here for about 2 weeks. Her brother came in a lot. He tried to eat a lot of her food. She wanted to leave. She got to a point where it got so bad. Like, I think it was like 2 or 3 nights before she was supposed to get her incisions removed, she decided to start digging at my carpet. And so now we have carpet that is not really there anymore. So that's not great, but it's something we just have to deal with. Anyways, so all this is going on. It's not like she's doing a lot better now. We have racked up on all these vet bills. And we will be paying these off for a while. I'm hoping that we'll have it finished off, within the next year or so. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is that we got her back. She's doing really well. And so we took her into, oh my gosh, I cannot explain to you. We took her into a cardiologist, and we took her into a cardiologist, and the cardiologist was very sweet, very nice. And the first thing that she did when she came into the room was ask, like, is Suki named after, like, Avatar The Last Airbender? And we're like, yes! And we told her about our other cats and yada yada. So they did the echo. She does have an underlying heart condition. And I don't remember exactly the acronym for it, and I don't remember what the words are, but I just know that she has something wrong with her heart. And so we have to give her pills daily. And it's not great. But like, you know, her quality of life is still here. She's still here with us. She's only 3. So losing her at the age of 3 is like really terrible for us. And the fact that she has somebody that she's bonded with was really terrible for us as well. But she's doing really well now. Her fur is growing back in certain spots, and her stomach is kind of still like growing back a little bit. But it has been a roller coaster of like not knowing like if she will stay alive, what her life is going to be like, if she's still going to be here with us, and all that stuff. And I feel like we did lose a cat like 5 years ago, but I feel like it was too soon, that losing another one would be so devastating. And I will say, as somebody who was going through it, I know as terrible as this sounds, it's really hard having somebody that you are worried about, and then having to come home and then take care of more animals and stuff, because I just kind of wanted to like shrivel up and be my own shell, and I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to deal with the other cats, so I almost didn't. Like almost kind of guilty in a way. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like sometimes you watch movies and shows and they lose a child, and then they essentially become a shell of themselves, and they don't want to take care of their child anymore. They don't want to take care of their relationship anymore. And you kind of look in and you're like, what are you doing? like, you need to still be there for them. And I fully was still there for them, but it was hard because I was so hyper focused on one of them that it was hard to focus on everybody. And I knew that when I came home that I had to take care of them. I still had to play with them, and I still had to just everything. But in hindsight, it's just kind of hard because you're so worried. And even after everything, even having her home was a little bit worrisome because I would check up on them. I would check up on Suki often. I would come upstairs, make sure she's doing okay, and like majority of the time she's just doing the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of a roller coaster, and I think I wanted to share our story. I probably should have made the bed, but it doesn't matter. A lot of it has happened, and I kind of did want to share everything that was going on. And I feel like the biggest takeaway from all of this is that we should have taken her in way sooner. We should have done the x-rays. We should have done the blood work. Just to like iron out that she's like okay. But in hindsight too, with all this is going on, everybody has reiterated like it's really dangerous if a cat becomes dehydrated. So I guess my biggest takeaway is that if your cat is kind of becoming dehydrated, that you should probably take them in. Just to check up on a few things or whatever. And yeah, it's just difficult because these pets are our family and we gotta take care of them. And it's really important to do so. Yeah, so thank you for hanging out with me today. This is a really long video of me recording it, and I don't think there's a lot for me to cut out. I know there are some parts, but as far as I'm recording, this is 44 minutes long. And all of this is really important. So just another one of those sit down talks. I haven't had these in a while. But anyways, yeah, she's doing really well. Let me see if I can find her. Here she is, all her cute little glory. She is doing a lot better, like I said. Like, I don't know if you can see, but her arm was shaved right here. After we took her out of this room, she kind of had Stockholm syndrome for this room. She wanted to keep coming back. I'm sorry, I just walked upstairs. But she's doing a lot better. She's playing a lot more. And it's great. She's doing well. You doing okay? She said, let me go. Her stomach is growing back. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to stretch her too much. But she is still healing. We are in a recovery process still. She's recovering, but she's acting like normal. She's jumping on things. She is going anywhere she wants. She is as sassy as she is normally, but it's nice to have her home. Well, anyways, thank you for listening to my story, and I appreciate you. So I'll see you guys next time for the next vlog. See you later. Bye.